Welcome, dear students. I am Dr. Aditya Kumar, Assistant Professor, Department of Botany, Dayanand College, Hisar. This video has been prepared under the aegis of Directorate Higher Education, Haryana for undergraduate botany classes. Today, we are going to discuss on topic late blight of potato, a common plant disease, its causal organism, symptoms, and control. The perspective we get on Earth, our home planet, is the only planet which appears to be surrounded by natural resources. One that provides its invaluable support to sustain human race is plantation. Different ethnic communities from Ladakh in Trans-Himalaya to the southern coastal tip of Kanyakumari and from the desert of Rajasthan and Kutch to the hills of northeast, every community they use the plants as prime source of food, fibers and drugs. Plants are also important to man because they utilize carbon dioxide in photosynthesis and release oxygen. When a plant can carry out its physiological functions to its best, it is supposed to be a normal or healthy plant. And when the plants are disturbed either by pathogens or by certain environmental conditions, and one or more of these functions are interfered to a certain deviation from the normal, then the plant becomes diseased. The plant diseases are the result of interaction between host and pathogen. The disease is classified according to major causal agents such as parasitic, non-parasitic, viruses, and the disease incited by plant parasites are bacteria, fungi, algae, etc. Here, we will focus on a plant disease, late blight of potato, which is caused by a fungal pathogen, Phytophthora infestans. The causal organism is a fungi. The fungi is a diverse group. The word depends upon fungi because they are major players in the cycling of materials and energy around the world. Today you will learn about what are fungi, what is plant pathology, late blight of potato, historical aspects of plant disease, distribution, symptoms, causal organism, predisposing factors, epidemiology and forecasting, and control measures. Fungi constitute a large and diverse group. They are eukaryotic, spore-bearing, achlorophyllous, which reproduce sexually as well as asexually, and their filamentous, branched, and somatic structures are typically surrounded by cell walls containing chitin, cellulose, or both of these substances with many complex carbohydrates. The study of fungi is known as mycology. It comes from a Greek word mycos, which means mushroom, and logos, which means study or discourse. The study of mushroom is also called as mycology. Pier Antonio Micheli was the founder of science of mycology, and Anton de Berry was known as the father of modern mycology and plant pathology. In contrast to India, Sir Edwin John Butler is the father of Indian mycology. The fungi they are classified into three major kingdoms according to Alexopoulos et al. The kingdom fungi, kingdom Staminophylla, and kingdom Protists. Now, plant pathology is intimately related to the health of plant and the production of crop yields. It has several relevance in agricultural activities in different countries like India, which are fast developing and where much still needs to be done in the modernization of control measures against this plant disease. Plant pathology is also termed as phytopathology. Phyton means plant, and Greek word pathos means suffering, and logos means study. Simply, the study of suffering plant is known as plant pathology. Plant pathology is that branch of agricultural, botanical, or biological sciences which deals with study of cause of disease, resulting losses, and control of the plant disease. Phytopathology is the study of disease of plant and covers the entire field of biological and scientific activities concerned with the understanding of this complex phenomena. It is both science and arts too. Science of learning and understanding the nature of disease, and in terms of art, it is of diagnosing and controlling the disease. Disease, being a complex phenomena, is difficult to define in few words, but according to Stockman and Harrer 1957, they defined the disease as physiological disorder or structural abnormality that is deleterious to the plant or its part or product that reduces the economic value of plant. The disease development refers to a series of events which occurs between the time of infection and complete development of the disease. When host on which the disease occur, pathogen which cause the disease, and the environment are favorable, the disease can develop to its fullest with respect to time. The objectives of plant pathologies are etiology, pathogenesis, epidemiology, control, and management. The plant diseases are quite important to human beings because they are held responsible for causing damage to plant as well as plant products. Etiology is defined as the study of origin, cause, or the reason of disease, study of living, non-living, and other causes of disease or disorder in plants. Similarly, pathogenesis is the study of mechanism of disease development, that is, the process of infection and colonization of the host by the pathogen. This phase involves complex host-pathogen interaction. Epidemiology is the study of interaction between causal agent and diseased plant in relation to environmental condition. Generally, it occurs at the population level. And development of management system of disease, land reduction of losses caused by them is termed as control or management of plant disease. There are different methods like cultural methods, chemical methods, biological methods, which can be used to overcome the effect of plant disease. Now, what is plant pathogen? It is an agency that incites a disease. Any entity which can cause disease to the host is termed as pathogen. How the pathogen affect plant? There are many ways in which plant disease pathogen can affect the plant. They kill the plant host or by interfering with the metabolic processes through their enzymes, toxics, etc. They can affect the plant by utilizing the host cell content, also by weakening the host due to continuous loss of the nutrients. They also interfering with the translocation of food, minerals and water and affect the plant. They can reduce the leaf area, suppress the chlorophyll content, stop the movement of water and solutes, reduce the water absorbing capacity, suppress the translocation of photosynthetics, promotes wasteful use of products of photosynthesis as in the formation of gall. The late blight of potato, it is a very common disease of potato, occurs on the host plant Solanum tuberosum. There are different types of the disease has been reported in potato crop like early blight of potato, black dot of potato, dry rot of potato, rhizoctonia canker, potato wart, sand silver scurf. But the most destructive disease of potato is late blight of potato. Late blight of potato is the most destructive disease of potato. Any part of foliage may be infected under cool and moist condition. Complete destruction of the plant in the field takes place within few days under favorable weather condition. It attacks and kills the tops of the potato plant and invades the tubers, causing either a dry or a wet rot. It may be asked why it is necessary to have a historical account of plant disease. A study of history of any science helps to make this subject very clearer. By studying the history of a science, we get a better perspective of the subject. We come to know the contribution made in that field, the problems that were encountered, and the manner in which they were tackled. We can follow the guidelines set by previous scientists while studying a particular branch of science. The historical aspects of late potato potato tells us about the history of this disease, the Great Famine in Ireland and elsewhere in Europe during the 1840s, USA and Europe 1830 and 1840, well established in Ireland, England and Europe by 1842. In India, this disease introduced in the Nilgiri Hills between 1870 and 1880. The disease was observed in Darjeeling in 1883 and in Hooghly district of West Bengal in 1899 to 1900. It was reported from Bhagalpur in 1930, but till 1950, this disease does not a major importance in the North India region, in the states of North India like Punjab, Haryana, and Uttar Pradesh. As far as the distribution is concerned, the late blight potato is worldwide in distribution. Formerly, this disease was prevalent in the hilly regions of northern India, but now it is of common occurrence in the plains of northern India. The famous famine of Ireland was mainly due to the failure of potato crops, which constituted the staple food of the people of that country. In northern India, the disease was introduced in the plains because of introduction of cold stores of potato, which maintained the desirable temperature and moisture for the survival of pathogen of the disease. Symptoms are the sign or evidence of disease or disorder. The diagnosis of a disease means the discovery of its identity of nature. Symptoms are the outward sign by which a diagnosis is assisted. In late blight of potato, the first symptom of disease occur in the foliage of potato are hydrotic areas with indefinite margins at the tips or on the margin of leaflet. The lesions become necrotic and turn brown to almost black in color. On the undersurface of the leaves, the lesions are covered with superficial whitish cottony fungal growth of Phytophthora infestans. In moist weather, the entire leaf may be killed within couple of days. When in dry weather, infection advances slowly and affected area curls and shrivel. Under moist conditions, they remain limp and soon decay and producing a characteristic offensive odor. During moist weather conditions, the blighted areas rapidly enlarge, quickly spread to tender and older plant parts. Under dry weather conditions, the enlargement of lesions get restricted and the blighted area turns black and dry up. In case of tubers, purplish brown spot appears which spread to the entire surface. These areas become necrotic. On cutting, affected tubers show brown necrosis spreading from surface to the center portion. That entire tuber turns brown and decay before harvest. The tuber becomes softened and the wet rot occurs. In wet and humid conditions, sprangiophores and sporangia can be seen as a downy growth, particularly on the abaxial surface of leaflet. These are the symptoms or sign of the disease which occurs on the potato crop. The slides show late blight symptoms on potato leaf on the dorsal surface in picture first. In second picture, the symptoms on ventral surface, the whitish zone surrounded the necrotic area consists of sporangiophore and sporangia. In third picture, the late blight symptoms on potato tubers. And next, sporangiophores and sporangia of pathogens are clearly visible. Intercellular mycelium with haustoria and caducous sporangia occurs on leaves. The causal organism, it is an agency that incites a disease. The causal organism of late blight of potato is Phytophthora infestans, first described by M. J. Berkeley and subsequently named Phytophthora infestans by Anton D. As far as their classification is concerned, it belongs to division Eumycota, subdivision Mastigomycotina, class Oomycetes, order Pyrannosporales, family Pitheaceae, genus Phytophthora, and species is Infestans. Mycelium is branched, hyaline, aseptate, measuring 4 to 8 micron in diameter. Haustoria are common seen in tubers, and the vegetative plant body consists of long filamentous branch, aseptate and multinucleate hypha. Such conditions is called acellular cenocytic. Sporangia develop at the tips of sporangiophores. Sporangia are ovoid or lemon shaped. Sporangium bears a papilla at apical end. Zoospore is reniform, biflagellate, naked, uninucleate, single vacuolate. The mycelium is hyaline and irregularly branched. Septa appears during the differentiation of sex organs or in older hypha. The mycelium is both intercellular and intracellular. It produces intracellular short, simple, curved and cylindrical haustoria. They absorb nourishment from the host cells. During damp weather, some special hypha branches emerges out as singly or in clusters through stomata. It is very clear in the picture. Sometimes they come out directly perching through epidermal cells. These branches are called sporangiophores. Tip of the sporangiophore swells and become converted into single terminal multinucleate sporangium. It is separated from rest of branch by formation of a septum. A pad-like swelling generally develops at the base of sporangium. After the formation of sporangium, the apex of sporangiophore continues to grow, further pushing the sporangium to a lateral position. Another sporangium is developed at the apex of sporangiophore branch. Such type of branch system is sporangiophore may be regarded as sympodial. Sporangia are deciduous and they break off from the sporangiophore by wind or rain. Each mature sporangium is hyaline, ovoid or lemon-shaped structure provided with small stalk towards the base and thin papilla at the terminal end. It encloses 5 to 8 or more nuclei distributed in dense cytoplasm. The sporangium germinates within few hours of dissemination, failing which it loses its viability. On reaching to a suitable host, it absorbs moisture and germinates. The process of germination depends on moisture and temperature conditions. Under moist and low temperature condition, they germinate indirectly by producing zoospores and function as zoosporangia. Whereas under high temperature condition, they germinate directly by giving germ tubes and function as conidia. Therefore, these sporangia are correctly called as conidiosporangia. During favorable conditions, each sporangium absorbs water and swells. These protoplasmic uninucleate pieces metamorphoses into zoospores, and each zoospore is kidney shaped. Each zoospore is kidney shaped, uninucleate, biflagellate, and naked. The two flagella are attached in the lateral depression. Out of two flagella, one is pencil shaped and the other is whiplash type. Such a form of zoospore is called reniform type of zoospore. The liberated zoospores swim in the film of water and host surface. In the beginning, they swim fast, but gradually slow down and finally stop. They lose their flagella, round off, and secrete their own cell walls. It is called encystment. The germ tubes elongates and develop an aprysoria at its terminal end which helps in penetration. The aprysorium is a flattened pressing organ which helps the germ tube to penetrate the host tissue through stoma or epidermal cells. The antheridia in case of Phytophthora infestans lies at the base of oogonia forming a funnel shaped collar like structure. collar-like structure. The antheridium devolves first in the form of lateral or terminal swelling at the male branch. In the beginning, it is thin-walled and encloses one or two nuclei located in non-vacuolar cytoplasm. The female branch perches through the maturing antheridium and emerges out on the other side. Antheridium become irregular in shape and develop 2 to 3 papilla to sustain the pressure. The tip of female branch on coming to opposite side starts swelling. Soon it attains a globose shape containing the multinucleate dense cytoplasm. At this stage, about 40 nuclei are present in the oogonia. The cytoplasm of oogonium then differentiates into nucleated dense central ooplasm and vacuolated peripheral periplasm. The nuclei divide in the ooplasm and finally all except one migrates to the periplasm where they degenerate. The one nucleus left behind again divide into two daughter nuclei. Finally, one daughter nucleus disintegrates, leaving a single functional egg nucleus in the ooplasm. Mature oogonium is globostructure internally differentiated into central dense ooplasm and peripheral vacuolated periplasm. Single large egg nucleus lies in the center of ooplasm. The antheridium is irregular, collar shaped, found at the base of oogonium. It has 2 to 3 long papilla. Single functional male nucleus lie in the antheridium. At the time of fertilization, one of the antheridia papilla elongates and grows towards oogonium. The tip of papilla adheres closely to the side of oogonium. The common wall between the two dissolves and the protoplasm of antheridium along with its nucleus migrate into oogonium. In case of paragynous antheridium, the common wall dissolve and contents and antheridium migrate into oogonium. The two nuclei come close to each other but do not fuse. The first stage of fertilization is plasmogamy, which involves the fusion of cytoplasm. This stage is followed by karyogamy, in which two nuclei fuse with each other, forming a diploid nucleus. The resultant structure becomes oospore and undergo a period of rest. The germination of oospore has been observed. After passing a period of rest, the oospore starts germinating. It absorbs water and becomes activated. The nucleus divides by meiosis just before germination. Further nuclear division are mitotic, resulting in the formation of a large number of nuclei. The outer wall of oospore cracks and the inner wall comes out in the form of tube, and this tube is termed as germ tube. The germ tubes, which devolves a terminal juice sporangium. The juice sporangium germinates by giving out juice spores in the same manner as in the case of asexual reproduction occurring Phytophthora infestans. Under favorable conditions, the sporangium cannot germinate, but under unfavorable condition, the sporangium may germinate directly by giving out germ tubes. The predisposing factors, epidemiology, and forecasting of the disease. The infected tubers and infected soil are the source of primary infection. Survival of fungus in fruiting stage or as dormant mycelium in the soil. Persisting of perennial mycelium in affected tubers from the field, stored and used acid in the next season. Excessive humidity above 90% coupled with suitable temperature 15 to 20 degrees centigrade and optimum soil temperature moisture 15 to 20% are most favorable for the disease development. Continuous rain or light drizzle for 2 to 3 days followed by a low temperature is suitable for the disease development. Moisture and temperature are the main factors limiting the development of blights, and these conditions determine the time of appearance of disease. The forecasting is based on weather data collected in meteorological observations. Main factor under consideration are rainfall, humidity, temperature, cloudiness and dew deposition. The principal method of controlling plant disease are avoidance, exclusion, eradication, protection, immunization. In order to eliminate all the impediments to maximum production of food, it is imperative to control the spread of plant pathogen by cultural, chemical, and by breeding disease-resistant varieties. The general strategies of controlling plant disease are exclusion, in which we can do quarantines, inspections, and certification, avoidance, not planting in poorly drained soil, eradication, in which we can adopt crop rotation, sanitation, eliminating alternate host, and fumigation, and protection, treating healthy plant before infection with different type of fungicides, and resistance, genetic resistance, tolerant, and immunity. Selection of healthy tubers for seed is the prerequisite. The seed tuber should be obtained from those areas where the disease does not occur. The seed tubers should be free from late blight lesions obtained by use of certified or selected seeds. In case of cultural methods of control, tubers from infected fields should be discarded for seed purposes. Tubers should be harvested after proper skin curing. Infected tubers and aerial portion of the plant should be collected and buried deep. All sanitary precautions should be enforced. Tubers should be planted on high ridges, and planting of alternate beds of susceptible and resistant varieties will reduce the spread of the disease, that is late blight of potato. If we talk about the chemical methods, different types of the fungicides can be used as protectants, eradicants and therapiants. Bardiox mixture, diethane Z78, diethane M45, difolaten, Burgundy mixture, Briston, some stickers like Triton HE or Sendont 0.1%, metaxylil systemic fungicide and oxadixyl, a new systemic fungicides can be used. At Kufri, Darjeeling and Shillong, formation of oxadixyl were very effective. Ridomil on the phyloplain microflora of potato can be used. Biological methods, the reduction of inoculum density or disease producing activities of the pathogen or parasite in its active or dormant stage by one or more organism accomplished naturally or through manipulation of the environment, host or antagonist, or by mass introduction of one or more antagonist. Direct action against the pathogen occur in case of biocontrol, reduction or eradication of the inoculum of plant pathogens, antagonism of a number of phyloplain microflora of potatoes such as Trichoderma viridi, Penicillium, Chaetomium, and Trichoderma conigni, etc., can be used to overcome the effect of disease, late blight of potato caused by Phytophthora infestans. Different biotechnological approaches could be used. Hybridization work and cultivating the resistant varieties can reduce the infection in the potato crop. The potato breeding station in Shimla, Himachal Pradesh, they recommend different varieties for different zones in India. For Northwest Plain, Kufri Ashoka, Kufri Chandramukhi is recommended. For Western Central Plain, Kufri Jawahar, Kufri Arjun. Northeast Plain, Kufri Sindhuri, Kufri Gaurav. For Plateau region, Kufri Jawahar, Kufri Chandramukhi. And for Northwest Hills, Kufri Shelza and Kufri Himsona is recommended by CPRI Shimla. For Northeast Hills, Kufri Himalini, Kufri Girdhari. For North Bengal and Sikkim Hills, Kufri Jyoti, Kufri Kanchan. And for Southern Hills, Kufri Giriraj and Kufri Jyoti is recommended by Central Potato Breeding Station, Shimla. The resistant varieties should be used as seed. Such varieties can be obtained from Central Potato Breeding Station in Shimla, which is located at a place Kufri in Himachal Pradesh. The slide shows some of the varieties of potato like Kufri Alankar, Kufri Anand, Kufri Arun, Kufri Ashoka, Kufri Badshah and Kufri Bahar. The varieties has been well recommended by Central Potato Breeding Station Shimla for different zones in India. This slide shows some important contribution or publication by Indian workers on Phytophthora. A monograph of Phytophthora disease in India written by Professor R.S. Malhotra and Ashok Agarwal and published by Bishan Singh and Mahinder Pal Singh, Dehradun. They described the different Phytophthora disease in India. Today we have discussed about late blight of potato, a common plant disease, what are fungi, pathology, causal organism, symptoms, predisposing factors, epidemiology, forecasting, and control. Definitely, field of plant pathology comprises both of the art of treating the sick plant and the science of understanding the nature of disease plant. To obtain a clear understanding of the modern trends in phytopathology research, it may be necessary to briefly recapitulate the earlier development trends of this subject. Still, much needs to be done in the modernization of control measure against plant disease. Thank you.